I was in tears and I was actually really freaked out. There are multiple versions of us in different dimensions living with us simultaneously. When I time travel into different dimensions, I'm literally pulled up through my crown chakra. It's like a part of me is leaving my body, and then they will lead me down a path to tell me the story of their soul. I am guided to the most magical things because I am led, and we can all be led. I'm being sucked into a portal that's allowing me to see a timeline that is happening at the same time as this one. We are in ceremony together for all of those people who have drawn to you to watch this, because we all have the power to change this. I don't know why I'm guided to talk to you about this, but I'm just going to go here. When I first was in that state of being able to see through the veil, seeing through the veil into what someone's existence was in another dimension, and then seeing them in front of me on the table in the physical form, and then seeing future projections of them, I was in tears and I was actually really freaked out, Amrit, because obviously, I'm a business person. I went to university. I've got a master's degree. I was into all the spiritual things, but I sure as hell was not expecting to be able to witness it myself. And so when I was 33 and I had this awakening and my Māori healer friend was asking me to look at her, it was just such a fascinating experience for me, because I literally get drawn into portals, and especially now that I'm more experienced with this work, being drawn in at that time can be very destabilizing, because you don't know what it is why you are seeing this. And so it leaves you with questions, but it leaves you with what you were saying to me prior coming on live here with you recording, is that there's more. There's more, and there's more to learn, and there's more for me, and there's more to come. But that is by evaluating the past along with the present and then looking at the future. And that's how my work works, in a bit of a method, which has now been a bit more streamlined over the years. So going back to that time, seeing all that, Amrit, it freaked me out, because I literally cried and cried and cried there, cried all the way home, had to stop the car about 10 million times, what would normally be a half an hour trip home to my place, but I had to keep just pulling over going, because you don't feel like yourself. Like even doing a podcast with you, Gaia is here, but I guarantee it's like a session for me. I won't remember what I say a lot of the time, because it just comes through me. So it was a really fascinating but destabilizing experience.
Really interesting. You said other dimensions we occupy on the other side of the veil. I just wanted to double click on that for a sec, because I think, that for some people might be like, well, we occupy other places, other spaces, when we're not just...
There are multiple versions of us in different dimensions living with us simultaneously. I'm going to give you a really amazing example that I had recently, because I don't actually remember many stories, but some of them, they are just so awe-inspiring and like, wow, that I remember them. Because I always let people know I'm actually quite naive when it comes to this whole spiritual thing, because I don't read a lot of spiritual books or anything like that, because I firmly believe that we are all connected enough to receive the information ourselves, and I like to interpret it that way. So when I get something, that's when I will research and look. When I receive a message or a sign, that's when I will investigate further. I don't actually go seeking the information being a practitioner of the work that I do. It is given to us at the right time. And so when we are living in different dimensions, it's not that we need to know what all of those characters are that we're playing in the different dimensions. Because initially, Amrit, when I first started doing this work, completely naive, 33-year-old woman, with my distribution company, people are suddenly coming to me all the time and going, please tell us about us. And just a disclaimer here, I do not allow my clients to speak to me at all when I first meet them, because I don't want to know anybody's personality. I don't want to know who they think they are. I don't want to know what they think they're coming for, because we will be guided. We will be guided into what we need to know, what spirit wants us to change, and how we are to evolve from the information that is being given. So, going to the different dimensions, this is a prime example of something amazing. I had a client on Zoom, can't remember where she was, I think maybe the States, and no conversation prior. I'm just channeling through what I'm channeling through. I saw her in a very recent incarnation in Cambodia, and it was during Pol Pot situation going on in Cambodia. And I saw her as like a 15-year-old girl in the killing fields with her sister who was about 18, and they were going to be burnt to death. Now this is what I learned, Amrit, through the work. Initially, I thought, okay, I'm seeing past lives. Great, fantastic. What it is, though, is that the physical incarnation it's not available anymore, meaning the body is expired and done for that lifetime. But if we don't go in and start understanding what is there, we are still going to be repeating those things here on Earth in this dimension if we don't go and address the other dimension. So here is my client in a completely different body. I think she was a Western American woman that was in front of me. It's not a vision, I'm literally there, because when I come back down to earth, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to go clean the house now and cook dinner and all of that. But I was sitting there watching her and her sister in the killing fields about to be burnt to death. And I'm saying this to my client, and I said to her, okay, I'm seeing this in whatever dimension I was in, which usually spirit will tell me what dimension I'm in, because even the number, the numerology of that dimension means something. So for example, if it was the 13th dimension, that numerology is also aligning and affecting my client at the same time. Simultaneously, while I am healing this particular trauma in this lifetime in Cambodia, very, very recent lifetime for this client, I had a soul that stepped through at the same time. And the soul said to me, I'm her sister. So my next words to her were, because I only let them say yes or no when I'm asking questions initially and then get to know them later. Have you got a sister in spirit? She said, I do. I said, okay. I said, you and your sister both died together, and there's just, my whole room has just filled up with smoke. Client starts crying, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm saying, but let's go here. So I go in and do my thing in this dimension, because we need to clear this trauma from this client's soul blueprint, and obviously the sister, which I didn't know she had a sister or that the sister had passed on. Then I move to the sister, and I say to the sister, why are you here? And she said, I died by smoke in this lifetime too. So I said, okay. I said to the client, what is the situation? She said, Gaia. She said, the last place my sister visited for a holiday when she was 18 years old was Cambodia. And when my sister got home to the States, she died in a house fire. I'm getting goosebumps just telling you the story again, because it blew my freaking mind. Because not only, it makes me actually want to cry too, not only was this client coming, she was completely silent. Spirit gave me that level of detail, because this girl and her family are still reeling the death of their sister, not only from this timeline, but from another timeline where both the girls died together. And the sister said to me, my life was taken to save my sister's life because she was going to have a son. So I looked to her and I said, do you have a son now? And she said, I do. And she said, I knew I was never going to have children because the boy was mine. I lost him at the killing fields. So we had to actually transfer who the mother was going to be, because I knew my sister was going to survive this and was going to heal this for the whole entire family. Like, it just, that level of knowing that spirit is moving us into this deep healing work where on another dimension your sister is dying. In this earthly dimension, she died in a similar way. That is a repeating trauma that is running through the DNA of every single person that is being born into that family. Because when I delve deeper, it's affecting their relationships. It's affecting the ability to commit. It's affecting the ability to trust that they're going to be surviving in a life to be able to step into their gifts further, which this woman, I believe, had a lot of healing gifts and was afraid to use them. So I go in to the dimension to see what is going on here that needs to be cleared, transmuted, undone in order for the soul to be liberated that is in the other world, and also for the soul in front of me to be liberated, Amrit. That is the depth of it.
Yeah, goosebumps is an understatement. Karma, you've said, is not punishment, but rather energy rippling across dimensions. Can you
It's
unpack that?
funny. Yeah. And again, this is just all the way I've learned things over the years with seeing thousands of clients. And I'm like, I figure out my own systems and my own definitions, and they evolve and change as I grow and learn. I think we all, and I've learned this through trauma in my own life, like, why is this happening to me? Like, come on, God, give me a break. I'm a human being like everybody else with shit that happens. But it's like when things happen to us with karma, we perceive things as good and bad because that is our personality interpreting like, it's so bad that my sister died. Of course it is, because we are attached to that person. We love them. It's painful. But beyond that, Amrit, when you look down, this is an opportunity for everyone to evolve, everyone to change, everyone to heal it, because there's a bigger picture at play. We think Earth is the main event. I wish I could live up there all the time because there's so much going on and you can see so much more. That karma is just. It's nothing but the experiences, the intentions that we set, the learning that we come here to Earth for. And some of us, like you, for example, with your podcast, you are reaching hundreds of thousands of people. I, in my own way, bring the people that are attracted to experience my work. We are all here to liberate people in some way while we liberate ourselves too. Like, I remember reading something recently where, someone was saying we have to be careful of the type of healers we go to because healers are also dumping their stuff on other people. And I think that what's important for everybody to know, as a healer, we're not perfect. We've got our own karma that we're learning and undoing and healing. And like, I'm having to heal members of my own family that are not going to be doing that healing work. Then that in itself is karma. And that is also showing you that we are undoing other people's karma while having our own experiences as well. So we have to be very, very careful in everything we do. Like, everything we intend, how we respond to people, whether we're perceiving something as good or bad, or it's just an experience because it's going to be another layer of evolution for us to be able to evolve and be able to deal and be more resilient from a soulful place. And so, yeah, I when things happen to me, sure, my natural inclination may be to just cry and be upset. But then I step back into healer mode and I think, okay, why has this happened for me? Maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's about my great-grandmother 2 generations ago that wasn't able to use her voice and died of throat cancer, but now I'm able to speak as a Sri Lankan woman who's 42 years old to be able to share what I learned through my work. So I think it's very important as we go through, especially with everything happening in the world, our perspective is going to be changing because a lot more people are going to be having awakenings where they're going to be seeing karma as very different as to the fear that has been induced, like, oh, something bad's going to happen to me. And I have to admit, sometimes I think, oh God, I'm feeling really happy and balanced at the moment. What's going to happen? And then I think, actually, maybe that's the victim in me that's been tied up into needing some sort of drama in my life. Why can't everything just be balanced in life and death?
Yo, inspired souls, just taking a quick sec to thank all of you that are subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for your incredible love and support. And to all of you that haven't yet subscribed, please do take a moment. As I'm saying the word subscribe, the button below is lighting up in the colors of the Inspired Evolution. Please hit that button, hit the bell notification icon. Everything you see around here is a labor of love. It's powered and empowered by your subscription to this channel. Thank you so much in advance for your incredible love and support. And thank you again to all of you that have subscribed. Back to Gaia. Interestingly, how does someone recognize karmic imprints? Because obviously we've got our free will at play as well, but then, there are, from like this top-down level, like you're saying, it's just almost just interconnected movements amongst dimensions, timelines, tapestry, but then you've also got your free will as well. So how do you recognize whether something is of your own devices or whether it's karmic?
I think it's really important to emphasize that we do have free will. I personally believe, from what I've seen, a lot of it is predestined for us. It's how we're going to handle it and how we're going to move through it and how we're going to heal through it. How to recognize these blueprints and, these karmic repetitions, it is hard. You have to be very, very observant and self-aware as to, why is this happening for me? What's happened in the generation before? It might even have skipped you and gone into your children. It's just really noticing. Like, I can say, as the more mature I get, I think, gosh, I'm turning into my mum in so many ways. And I think all of us, people who are parents, and I'm not, will look at their children and think, we want them to take the good parts of us, but then not take some of the other bits of us, because we want to get better with time. So I think you do actually need to spend some time looking at, my child is showing me behaviors like me. This is my opportunity to encourage that child to try something different or not be as restricted. It's important to look backwards only to be able to move forwards. Like, I remember one of my wise friends who's passed away now. She was 81 when she passed away. She said to me, it's so important that when we do look at past lives, that we understand the lesson and clear it, but we're not living there. But this is the thing, we are living there until we understand that that's there. And of course, that's only a certain level of people that are able to access that type of information for you. But you at home, just take some moments sometimes in your meditations. If you're feeling challenged by something, what's attracted this to me? Like, what karma am I holding that may not even be what I've accumulated from this lifetime? It could have been my mum, it could have been my dad. And this brings me to another example to share with you, someone I had recently, faces I can't remember, but story I remember this one. And she was I believe a South Asian woman living abroad, somewhere in the Western world. And again, didn't know anything about her. And I went into a blueprint and I saw her mother in another dimension, which is another lifetime, where this mother had married a man and she was not getting what she wanted from that man, meaning that he was not fulfilling her needs for her in this particular lifetime. And she got herself involved with a practitioner of dark arts to put some sort of black magic or spell or whatever you want to call it on the husband so that he would essentially die, Amrit. And he did in that lifetime. I was thinking, okay, why the heck am I seeing this? And then Spirit was telling me the karma has continued where she was manipulating energy to get what she wanted, which was him out so she could be free. And this plagues every single daughter in the family for the husbands to die early. And I was thinking, whoa, this is really full on. And so I asked my client, I said, your father is here in spirit. I said, did he die young? She said, he was so young. He was like 42 or something, or 43 when he died. And I said, but you feel single. So is your husband gone too? She said, yeah. And so it's like, and then she's given birth to a daughter. So it's like undoing. So now that she has that information, but she could have maybe not seen it from the dimensional view that I can see it, but she can look back and go, hang on, something's weird here. Like something is so wrong. And then she proceeded to tell me that her mum never really liked her husband and was always a bit weird about it. It's almost like there was a power struggle of, we want the women to stay in control, but we want to get rid of the men. And so that had to be cleared. So if something, I mean, that's a level of detail that only certain people will be able to tell you, but you can look at the trend going, okay, my husband died young. My mum's husband died young. Like, where is this coming from? I've got a daughter. I need to heal this so that it doesn't get passed down. And that, again, she wanted to manipulate through dark arts. That's payback, like all these lifetimes later. So we can piece things like that together, Amrit. It just takes a bit of time. But then if you get a practitioner who can see and can help you transmute, that's also going to be helpful.
Well, the visceral experiences of these people is beyond mind-bending. I wanted to double-click on something that you mentioned before, that the numerology of the dimension, as you said you were transurfing through, the numerology of the dimensions. Can you explain that a little bit? I think that's, maybe just understanding dimensions in general would be helpful, but then also numerology.
Yeah.
I got really curious.
For me, the way that my spirit guides have taught me is that everything I say during a session means something. Every number, every gender, every color, and that vibration is coming through you at that time of when I'm working with you. My interpretation and the way that I have been taught through my spirit guides, which is not through another human being, hence the lack of, a technical term. When I see dimensions, I see them as layers outside of the Earth's surface. So you've lived them before. Some lifetimes I see not on Earth. On occasion, I see people that are beings. Oh, that's another cool story, actually. It's coming to me. I'll tell you in a minute. But it's like, so if I say, for example, if I see you as a client and I say, okay, Amrit, I'm being taken to the 9th dimension. And it's interesting because next year we're going into the year of the 9. That vibration is coming into you. I don't even know why yet, but I'm being told that 9 vibration is coming for you because we're moving into the year of the 9. And so this is really important that we clear this particular whatever is going on here so that you can step into the year of the snake, the year of the 9 with more power. And so the numerology, I can feel it in my body that when they give me those specific details, every specific detail means something, and that vibration is coming through, whether it's the number, the color, like we know that the chakras have all the colors associated with it. And then because I get, my gift is so varied in terms of what the client needs. It's either I'll be quantum jumping, or I'll be stepping into their body, or I'll be speaking to ancestors, or I'll be going into the future. It's like all of those details are like the amalgamation of who we are as a whole. And so, yeah, I think I'm not a numerologist. I'm not in anything. I'm just this woman that's got this gift that just keeps learning. But it fascinates me when you're given this information because it gives the clients some input. Like, I'm going to go away and research what this means. Like, what does it mean for me? Why did this come out of this woman's mouth? So it's super fascinating.
Hi there, guys. I wanted to take a quick moment just to introduce you to my one-to-one coaching. It's something that I deeply love doing. As you can tell, conscious conversation is such a massive part of my life. And having one-to-one, deep, meaningful conversations with people where I get to show up as your brother or as the coach or as your mentor has been such a gift for me personally, and a gift for lots of the people that I have supported on the journey of living a more spiritually empowered, spiritually powered, spiritually aligned life. You don't have to take my word for it. Here's some examples of people all around the world that have experienced profound transformations through this coaching experience.
Amrit is a fantastic coach.
In a few sessions, he got to a depth that I'd only experienced before working with certain medicines.
He's gone through a lot of the struggles that you're probably facing, and Amrit's been a really strong, supportive figure in my journey.
In control of myself.
I'm kinder to myself.
I actually have that vision and a purpose.
I do feel like I'm a better version of myself already.
Amazing energy.
He was easy to talk to, which made me easy to trust him.
Working with Amrit at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and really I was bouncing out of bed.
Whenever I get off the calls with Amrit, best money we've ever spent.
I would not recommend him because I don't want everyone to know about him, and then I won't be able to book him. If he gets too busy, I won't get my turn.
I would say absolutely.
There's no way you can work with Amrit for a period of time without being transformed.
So if you're considering him as a coach, do not hesitate, because you won't be disappointed.
Alrighty, so hopefully that's inspiring your evolution onwards and upwards. And if you are so inspired to evolve, you can book in a one-to-one call with me directly at www.amrit.coach/life. And guys, if I can say so myself, I do think this is something quite special. Most people that I see building things online don't really work with people this deeply, this intimately, one-on-one as things start to grow, just because it is so time intensive. And yet I'm so deeply passionate about the transformation that comes from one-to-one coaching that just isn't available anywhere else. It would be my absolute honor and a pleasure to support your spiritual awakening, your spiritual path, your spiritual unfoldment. It is my life's work. I look forward to seeing you in the call. Back to today's podcast. I want to double click on quantum jumping, but you said a few things in there, like a couple of times you said you were watching the Pol Pot situation, and then you said numerology, you felt it in your body. Obviously, this is an experience that you're having, which I'm trying to, like curiosity can't help but get the better of me. How does this information show up for you? Is it visual? Is it kinesthetic? What's going on? Because you also mentioned you go up there and then you come back down, and can you explain a little bit around, and it must be hard, but
It is hard to explain, but I'll do my very best to articulate it. So when I have a client, portals open up for me, and I control, because I have to be able to shut doors, because I'm not someone that's walking around reading people. It's none of my business. If they come to me as a client, absolutely. So when I time travel into different dimensions, I'm literally pulled up through my crown chakra. And so it's like a part of me is leaving my body, because when I come back, and I can feel quite unwell, I can feel like I want to vomit when I'm in this process. So I literally see myself time traveling, and then I will arrive. And my clients will always see me because I'll be looking everywhere, almost just distracted, because my whole environment changes to where I've ended up. And then I'll start being shown who's received me in this dimension. And it's 99.9% of the time a version of you. And so I'll look to see, okay, what gender you are, where am I? And most of the time, that version of my client is expecting me, and they'll say to me, oh my God, we're so happy to see you from the future because we're stuck up here. We need to get rid of this. And I'm like, okay. And then they will lead me. They will lead me in through the woods. They will lead me into their homes to witness domestic violence. They will lead me into the orphanage where they're experiencing physical trauma. They will lead me down a path to tell me the story of their soul. And when I experience it, and this is why I can't see a lot of clients, because I have a lot of, I don't know whether you've had your human design done, Amrit, but what are you?
Manifester, touch wood.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I'm a generator. I have a lot of empty centers. And so it's a great thing, but it's also, I take on everybody's stuff when I work. So it takes me sometimes weeks, days, months. So when I go up there, I'm literally, my whole environment changes from wherever I'm sitting and working in my house, which is usually my dining table. And I will be in the Amazon. I will be in Egypt. I'll be on a boat in Iceland. And then because I get to travel like this, and I'm like, sure, this is really interesting. I didn't even know this was going on in 1201 in Iceland. And then when I go and research, I'm like, oh my God, it actually was going on at that time. So for me, it's like I am a character in the movie, but as me, because I'm a person with a personality and I'm experiencing somebody else's lifetime as me, so that I can come back into my body and go, this is the problem. One of the things I'm really good at with my work is, because I don't get any information from a client, I can pinpoint what the issue is real fast. And most of the time, the client will agree. Those who are still in a bit of denial will be like, oh, that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. Doesn't matter what we want to talk about. I don't even know. I am just purely guided. And when we're purely guided, that is when the magic happens, Amrit. Magic happens when we are just, you're in Melbourne. I've actually just come back from Uluru. Wow. And I was guided there. 7th of September. I remember that I go into meditation, never even thought about Uluru, didn't even consider it. And this relates to what you're saying, what you're asking me about how I see things. I went into my meditation for me, and I meditate on my bed because I don't know, that's just where I meditate. And 7th of September, sorry. And this was about maybe 7 p.m. at night, and never mentioned Uluru, never thought about it, not bucket list, nothing. I go into my meditation, and I heard spirit, Aboriginal ancestors say to me, never thought about them, you need to come to Uluru. And I was like, okay. And I could see myself there. I didn't know anything about Uluru. I finish my meditation, and I walk out to my partner, and I say to him, is it okay if I go to Uluru for a while? And he's like, yeah. He's like, what's Uluru? He said, is that Ayers Rock? I said, yeah, I think it is. So anyway, I go online, and I'm like, I'm not going to just show up at Uluru. There's someone that's going to guide me. Within an hour, I am booked on a retreat, meditation retreat, everything. A few hours later, my beloved grandmother dies. And I realized that I am now undoing karma for her and all the women that have lost their children in Uluru. And so I go to Uluru, And on the first night, I hear my grandmother wailing in the wind. So for me, it's visceral, it's physical, it's everything. And it's amazing because I never expected to go to Uluru, but I was led there. And my grandmother was there, and all the other grandmothers whose children were taken away from them were there. And my job as a healer, that those few days I was there for the 1111 portal, and the sound that was coming out of Uluru, I recorded it and put it on my app for my clients because it was like we could hear the clapsticks. Like, I've been drinking cacao sitting here with you because we are in ceremony together for all of those people who have drawn to you to watch this, because we all have the power to change this karma, not for ourselves, but even for the ancestors that are not even of our ethnic imprint. And so when I experience fully, wholly, in every single way that moves my client to the core. And so it's very hard for me to explain, but I am guided to the most magical things because I am led, and we can all be led. I am control freak number one, Amrit. I am control freak, like, I need to know this now. I need to be super organized. But over the years, I have really just stepped back and thought, well, what would happen if I was just guided? And I was just guided to everywhere I need to go because, you know, they gave me this work. Great. It's a wonderful gift. I get to help lots of people. All this magical stuff happens to me, and it happens to me with such flow, grace, and ease. Like, I've just had my 42nd birthday, and the words that Spirit said to me is that you're going to step into a majestic version of yourself. I go to the hairdresser that same day, and my hairdresser, who's a healer, but a hairdresser, Gaia, it's just like you're giving majestic vibes. And I was like, thank you for validating that for me, because that is what they told me. People will give you the information without you even needing to ask, because you are being guided to the right people at the right time. So you can have these magical experiences for yourself. You just have to relinquish control. And you have to just go, show me, guide me, teach me, make it all link. I'm not special, Amrit. I am just being myself. That is all.
Just really hard to ask a question, just given growing up in Australia, just recognizing the impact of the stolen generations and just how people could do that to people.
And those mothers and the grandmothers, they are all still walking Uluru and Katajuta, trying to reunite with their babies in spirit. Just because most people can't see, Amrit, I could see. I could feel the children holding my hands and walking, asking me to walk them to their mothers again. That reunion is happening for all of us in spirit and physical. You and I are reuniting. Last night in my meditation, I saw the two of us in a cave in India. And I was thinking, he's come to me for lessons before. When I was a man, we were both men. And here we are in our own cave of ceremony, learning again from one another. Like, I didn't even know you were in Australia or Australian, Amrit. I'm showing up today because I don't like to know too much. I just want to show up and see what comes out of my mouth. And I just literally got back from Uluru. What are the odds?
Yeah, totally trippy. One of the things I wanted to ask you, which is just a quick little, because I keep hearing this as well. There was two things. I'm just going to say something and then ask a question, which is Paramahansa Yogananda also talked about at a certain point in his journey, he had to stop reading books because he just wanted to keep his connection and his conduit open and flowing, because the books were like, okay, great, now I've got information, but now I need the clear information for myself. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I keep hearing that. The other piece in there is I just wanted to ask about energetic housekeeping, because you're moving in and out of spaces. You're seeing other people's stuff. You're going into one dimension, coming out of another. Like, all this stuff's happening for you. For some people, because you mentioned anybody can be led, right? So we just have to surrender control to some degree. But I think for some people, it's also important, like you said, you open portals, but then you also shut the door. And I think even just like you rush past that when you said that, but I think there's all these little pieces of energetic housekeeping that are very important for you to be able to maintain your own energetic health. Am I right? Am I wrong? Can you tell me more about all of that?
Amrit, 100%. I think people look at this work and see the glamorous side of things, like, oh, you can see and you can experience. I honestly am just so normal in so many other ways. It's just that my work is extraordinary, so therefore I have extraordinary work stories. But to do this work on this level and for spirit to trust you with thousands, like the number of people that we get contacting us is insane. And the housekeeping or keeping myself, I am quite pure. That's not perfect, okay? Pure meaning, these are my things. I don't drink alcohol. I stopped drinking alcohol about 5-6 years ago. It's not that I drank very much, but it just didn't suit me. So I just stopped drinking. I've never taken any type of drug or anything like that, like plant medicine. I was laughing with a friend the other day. Even as a teenager, I knew that if I did, I would die. And it was just a knowing that I had that it wasn't for me. And the upkeep that I have, that I need, is that I notice that if people have had experiences in their lifetime where, for example, and I see a lot of people that were addicts and are really powerful healers, but they were addicts, they tend to need to be a bit more mindful in this work because the wiring has gone a bit askew over their lifetimes, not necessarily just in this lifetime, and therefore keeping yourself pure and clean, which means regular meditation practice, conscious eating, whatever that means to you, not just eating willy-nilly, but consciously knowing that this is what my body wants today, ensuring that you have all your spiritual practices. For me, it's like I've got my healer friends who help me when I sometimes have something stuck on me from a client that I can't remove myself. We help each other, like, okay, Gaia, you've got this particular thing. So it's a constant discipline of purification, rituals, being in ceremony, gratitude ceremonies, being in the light. I'm making decisions for myself that's always in the light so that when I work, I'm not inviting in anything that is not of the light. I've got various prayers that I say, like even before coming here, like for openness, for making sure that whoever's receiving this heart transmission is going to be receiving it openly. And I just feel like if you are going into this work, there is the other side of things, which is like I have a lot of physical stuff that comes up because of taking things on for people. And if you are someone that's dabbled in, other things, just be mindful that you have someone to support you. I often get people going, I want to channel. And I'm like, gosh, I didn't even ask for this, but you have to be careful, because I remember years ago, it was when I first started, I had this young man show up on my doorstep and he was only like 19. And he said to me, they don't want me to be here. And I was like, well, my light is stronger than their dark. Come in. And then I looked and I could see that he was an addict in lifetimes before, and he was in this lifetime too. So he was a powerful healer, but because he was so frightened of it, he'd gone into other things to try and numb it. So it allowed darkness to come in. So we have to make sure that we're making decisions in the light as part of our spiritual housekeeping. But I've just learnt over the years, Amrit, what works for me. And sometimes I'm not that great either. Like my partner will remind me, Gaia, you need to go outside and ground yourself. Go, because you're being a bit weird right now after clients. Or my best friend will say to me, this is not you talking. Who have you seen? So, I have amazing people around me who know me so well that will be like, you're being strange, this is not you. And then I'm like, oh, right, yes, that's right, I've got to get rid of this energy. So combination of meditation, pure choices and decisions, conscious choices, listening to the leads, prayer, whatever, shifting energy, going to an energy healer that you trust, that's reputable. So you learn over the years what is right for you. Everyone's going to be different with how they're looking after their spiritual health.
Yeah, one of the things you also mentioned earlier, thank you for that. One of the things you mentioned earlier was, this cast of the way forward, and yes, go back and unpick things with intention that, we're on our way forwards. Because I totally have a bias here, which I have to pre-qualify the question with. As a coach, I'm consistently, yes, forward, but then there's also, we do end up in therapeutic healing conversations because you can't go forward because there's something from back here that needs to be unpicked and untucked, and then you can move forward. But then also there is a bit of and this is going to sound like, I definitely don't want to say, like, healing is incredible, but also endless in many ways as well. Right? Can you just shed a light on all of that, Touchwood? Because and that's not to say, no, I'm saying don't heal. Like, absolutely, healing is vital, but also recognizing that you always have something left to heal. You also have this opportunity to live this life. Sorry,
And that is the balance we all need. Like, even I get to the point with healing my own stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm done doing this for a while. I need a break. I just want to live my life and go just do normal things and blah. We all need a break. Like, if any practitioner says to you, you have to come back and see me in 3 weeks or whatever, you need to sit with that and go, well, do I really need to, or can I wait for this to integrate? Like, for me, will see a client, I'm like, don't come and see me anytime soon. Live your life, move forward, make decisions, make life an adventure. You have to do that. It's like, do a little bit from behind, then move forward. Do a little bit, move forward. And you need to discern. The right practitioner will never make you feel like, oh, you need to just keep coming to me and blah, blah, blah. There are so many incredible healers in the world that are all going to look from a different perspective. Like I always say, Amrit and I, you and I can have the same cake ingredients, but the end result's going to be completely different. And it's like, you want to be able to do some healing with a reputable person that that is going to really come from that place of, we're here to help you. And, the spiritual ego is one of the worst things. So you have to be mindful who you go to as well, because what are the person's intentions? I've had people come back saying my healer drugged me. I've heard that story a lot. So you have to be really, because it's a power trip for a lot of people too. So you need to be able to just do some healing, digging around, and then live your life. Like, I love adventures. I love that spirit led me to Uluru. I had an amazing spiritual adventure, but also a physical one. And I've got a few other places that, I'm thinking about going, but I'm waiting for that push. So I feel like there's a little bit of both, but absolutely, we all need to take a break from healing sometimes. It can get too much. And then people have a healing crisis and the body needs to catch up. But the right practitioner will guide you and say to you, okay, that's enough for now. Live your life. And it's really important that we are grounded in this lifetime. I mean, I joked and said it's fun to stay up there and see everything. The only reason that it is fun to see everything like that is because I am removed from my day-to-day life, and I'm not feeling all the day-to-day burdens and stresses of, all the things that I need to get done from an administrative perspective. Up there, it's like, oh my goodness, I just feel love all the time, and but we're here to experience life. So it's a fine balance, Amrit, like absolutely, like in your work, coaching, moving forward, making sure that everyone's living their full potential and pushing that even further. So important, but in balance also with the type of work that I do. It's not about just constantly digging around. Because sometimes when people see me, they're so like, oh, I want to come back again. No, you go and live your life, because you need to live in order for spirit to open up more doors. Because my guides are clever. They're like, no, this person needs to go and do this, this, and this first, experience this, then we're ready for the next layer. And I love it like that. I love that I'm always being guided to help my clients in a way where they can live in both worlds like I do. I dance between both worlds where people are like, oh my God, you're just so normal and you do normal things. Yeah, of course, I'm a person. I've got a life too. But I just have these abilities that gives me more perspective, and also to help people with perspective on their lives, especially when they come and see someone like you that has another healing gift to push it this way. All of us have the cake mixture, but just different ways.
What happened at 33?
I had a premonition that something big was going to happen to me at 33. I did not know it was going to be spiritual, even though I was spiritually inclined in the way that, I'd been to see psychics and mediums. I'd be attracted to them, sitting next to one in a bar type of thing. And I discovered that my numerology is 33, that I carry Christ consciousness energy. This is other healers giving me this information over the years till I turned 33. It's not like in November on my birthday, suddenly this light bulb went off. But again, that's why I said the numbers even count. Like that age, that 3 and that 3 together aligned something for me that opened me up to be who I really am. And I've just followed that path. I haven't had any fear about it going forward because I knew that I would, because I'm a good intentioned person. I knew that if I was to delve in other people's energy, and then it's confirmation also by the number of people that come to me, it's like, okay, I'm doing something that is helping people and they can see that I'm pure and authentic about it. I'm not doing it for any other reason. So I just feel like at that age, at that number, my stars literally just all aligned for me to actually step into who I really am rather than who I was pretending to be. And that's going to be happening to a lot of people now, Amrit. It's not just me or you. Like there's going to be so many more awakenings, especially as, I don't know why I'm guided to talk to you about this, but I'm just going to go here.
Yeah. It was going to be one of my questions.
Especially when we're moving into AI and all of these technological advancements. And I think there's going to be a lot of benefits from all of that. But one of the benefits is that we can look at it as a pro or as a con. Sure, the con may be that, a lot of jobs are going to be obsolete and, not exist anymore. But isn't that showing you that there's another way? Isn't that showing you that you've got a power inside of you that's waiting to come out so that you are not going to be obsolete? And I just feel like it's an opportunity for us to trust our intuition and where we're meant to be stepping in. And I find especially in my work, and I meet all kinds of people, a lot of people are like, how do we become like you? How do we do what you do? I'm just me. You are you. You don't want to be me. I'm just doing my thing. The more you focus on you and your self-development and your improvement and your spiritual health, don't worry about what I'm doing or what you're doing or what whoever's doing. We're just maybe inspiration in some way of what is possible in this realm of work. But you need to be focusing on you. Like for me, I don't let anything affect me that's happening outside. I do my healing thing. I heal the world in the way that I'm taught to do through my work. I make decisions based on what's right for me, but I'm not looking at other people. And I noticed that, one of my Maori healer actually said to me, the higher you go, there's always going to be some sort of darker force that wants to pull you down. Don't even focus on pulling people down. What's the point? You're accumulating a karmic experience for you that may skip you and go into your child. Just let people be. I'm not saying this is people getting away with doing bad stuff. Sure, things need to be called out. But I'm talking about don't worry about what other people are doing. Just focus on you. You build up your own new karma. And if technology is moving ahead and moving forward, what can you do that keeps you in a place of value but also contributing to humanity? Because it's such a big focus going in over this next 20 years of us serving in the light. And then we can work together with AI rather than, having been like, we're freaking out. Because the more we are of a benevolent nature, the more AI is going to evolve in a way that's going to support us rather than take things away from us. And, the whole AI thing, look, I don't know much about aliens, but they do tend to come through in sessions for certain people. And that's how I'm going, oh my goodness, you're a little one and you're a big one and you've got this frequency, that. Because I naturally don't know. But I know that AI, from what I have been taught by my spirit guides, AI allows this extraterrestrial energy to come in because it's like any spiritual activity, lights flickering, we're electricity. And so AI being whatever it is from a technical, however they develop it, it's giving the opportunity for extraterrestrials to show themselves, but we want to show them what humanity is really like, which is pure, kind, generous, lifting each other up, being who we really are so that we get the best out of it too. Don't know why I went on that tangent. Sorry,
No, please do not apologize. Time timeline, quantum jumping. Can you explain? Because we've basically been discussing it for a minute now already, but I think if we can explicitly just define for some people, for those that are new to quantum jumping, what's happening when you're jumping to another timeline? Can you explain the term?
I'll do my best. And again, this is Gaia explanation. When I jump into different timelines, what is happening is that I'm being sucked into a portal that's allowing me to see a timeline that is happening at the same time as this one. What the cool thing is about quantum jumping, and I didn't even know that term. It was just because I was just doing my thing. The cool thing about it is because Spirit is giving me access to an experience that you're having there, which means that we can bring forward certain things into your lifetime now, or we can transmute it. Most of the time it's clearing things that you don't need anymore, but there are things like Spirit has told me very clearly, like I've got so many clients who are healers, mediums, coaches, all of that. My job is to activate your gift spiritually. You have to do the rest. And this is the thing with you, like, you're coaching, getting people to live their authentic lives. You've got to step forward into it. Like when I discovered my gift through my Māori healer who helped me remember, I could have just gone, nah, I'm not going to do this because I'm too scared. But I just was like, no, I'm going to step into this, see why this is happening. Quantum jumping enables me to see what your abilities are, what is holding you back, but me being me, able to step into it, clear it, or bring it into your body. So it comes into my body first like a USB port and then into your being to awaken that from a cellular level. So quantum jumping for me is moving through timelines that are happening now, but also the ability to bring in or take away things that serve you or do not serve you. That is what I've learned over the years from my guides as to what is actually happening when I'm quantum jumping. So skills and things like the skill that I have of being able to do and see what I can see, Gaia knows nothing. Gaia is just, just this girl living her life. It's through the awakening of these other dimensions at the right time that enable me to see more. And it's also one of the tricks here, and it's not a trick, but because a lot of people go, I want to do this, and don't ask for it. Just focus on yourself. If you meditate and you're doing all your spiritual things from a place of not expecting anything in return, you're just doing it for your own awakening, for your own connection, it's naturally people, like all my friends who have very normal jobs, lawyers, teachers, I'm the weird one that's got tinsel in my hair and, doing whatever. But it's like they're all so intuitive where I can sit with them and they'll be like, we think this is going to happen now. And because they've been focusing on themselves, and none of them have the intention of being a practicing healer. That's how you need to sort of do it and be able to, and when you're ready, Spirit will take you up and show you what you need to show. But one thing I've not ever done is I've never asked, show me this, show me that. I'm just like, show me what you want to show me. Like, I know that it'll align when I'm meant to align. And that's, again, trusting in the flow of life.
You, Inspired Soul, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What are you taking away from today's conversation? What is your awareness around quantum jumping, quantum timelines, healing, multidimensional healing? What's present for you as this conversation? What's present for you in this conversation? What is this conversation bringing up for you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. With that, back to Gaia in today's episode. I wanted to double click on something because we've got healing going on when people come to see you across different dimensions. But then also you mentioned earlier that much of it is predestined. And I've thought about predestination quite a bit, to be honest. Sometimes jokingly, but not so jokingly as well. I can't come to any conclusions, but one of the things I can conclude is we may not have the choice of what happens, in that it is all predestined potentially, but that we will always have the choice of how we show up. At the very least, right? So there's, and that's where, because free will, predestiny, choice, it's like, where does, circle of control really live? But in that, to sort of say you've got if everything is largely predestined, I can't help but think of everything in a linear fashion. And I know you see things differently when you're in that space. So, because in a linear fashion, everything's predestined, but yet healing's occurring. Was that healing always meant to have occurred at that particular point in that person's timeline, or does it flick them onto something different? And then how does that work with destiny? Like, yeah, do you get the nature of my question? It's sort of...
Yes, I do. So if we bring it back to the example, the case study around the young lady who died in Cambodia and then lost her life in this lifetime at 18, she was meant, as horrible as that sounds, I could see it in the lifetime before, that her life gets cut short by fire, life being taken and consumed by something. And then it happened again in this lifetime. But in the previous lifetime, it wasn't meant to be healed. It's meant to be healed now. And that's why the sister had come forward, because the sister is stepping into her own healing abilities, but couldn't move forward further until we liberated the sister that has passed on from that karma, in order for this woman in front of me to be able to move forward. So I always am told by my spirit guides, yes, certain things are predestined. Absolutely. But the how we go about it, because Gaia, being controlling Gaia, has delayed a whole lot of stuff that could have happened much sooner, because I was trying to intervene, I was trying to change things, I was trying to whatever. Whereas now I know better, that I will be given information at the right time and then I will just follow. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't do. Stuff needs to be done also, of course. But there's a fine line between control and trusting in the flow of life. And I need to remind myself of that a lot also. So with things that are predestined, like that death was predestined, but we only see ourselves in the human form. But for that liberated soul, she can move on to other dimensions and be reborn again when she's meant to be reborn again, knowing that the next person in her family is able to live their true purpose in their life. So it's amazing how everything we do is affecting the sibling we don't talk to, or the father that passed away, or, it's all really healing everybody based on our decisions. And that in itself is not predestined. It's how we respond to life when it happens to us and what it's happening for.
I wanted to ask you how, because you mentioned over the years you've obviously been practicing this work quite a bit. The level of discernment that you're carrying is quite rich. And it sounds like you've gotten better over the years at doing what you're doing. How did you get better? Was it just being in the dojo and doing the work? And because, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. It's just like, how does one get better at something so where there's less manuals around? Do you know what I'm like? Just trying to
Well, it's like spiritual school. Like when I first started at 33, you were like, what is this? What is happening? Like, what is this for? I didn't even know. But me being tenacious, I just kept going along with it because it was interesting for me, and it was interesting to learn from spirit what I meant to be doing to help these people. And so it's like anything, Amrit, you just kind of get better because you're honing in on a skill that you naturally have, and it's being practiced every single day. I've got such a cool story to tell you right now about this. So in September, when my grandmother passed away, 10 days later, a friend of mine passed away. And the night before his life support got switched off, I went into meditation and I sent him healing, smooth transition. And this happens to me sometimes, and it's happening for all of us. We have to pay attention to the signs because this is how we get better at following our intuition, because we need intuition. I get a number of medical professionals now going, we want to follow our intuition even more. So I finished my meditation, and I come out to my partner, and I said, I just saw our friend standing in front of a stone angel. And I said, I walked into that like a portal, and I said, I turned that angel into life, that stone angel into life. And it embraced my friend, saying that the angel will be there when his soul crosses over tonight. All well and good, Amrit. I was so moved by the angel that I told a few friends. I even put it up on my Instagram that I sent healing to my friend, and he showed me this beautiful stone angel, and I found a picture on Pinterest that kind of resembled the stone angel I saw. 1 week later is my friend's funeral. Now, we didn't know any of his other friends, and we park, and there was a gentleman with fair hair parking opposite us, and I was thinking, I'm so attracted to that man. There's something about him. We walk into the funeral parlor, and I knew it was going to be, because he knew a lot of people, my friend, I knew it was going to be packed. So I went and found a pew. And when I walked in, the blonde-haired man was standing there, and he said, "You sit in here." I followed my instinct, and I went and sat in there. And then the funeral proceeds to go on, and hundreds of people are in the room. And the last thing that comes up on the funeral slides is a photo of my friend who has passed away standing in front of a stone angel with the man sitting next to me who's the fair-headed man. So I nudged my partner. He didn't quite get it. And then, this is where it gets even, I was like, oh my God, he was actually showing me a stone angel that he knows. It wasn't just symbolism. Honing in on your intuition. Don't just disregard what you're seeing. Because sometimes for myself, I'm like, it's a stone angel, la la la, Uluru, okay. We walk out, we say hi to people and, send our greetings and blessings and all of that. Getting back into the car at the same time, the fair-headed man. Now, I notice with me, when I've got something to say, I can't control it. It's like when I work, I can't control what comes out of my mouth. It just comes out, and I know it always it's the right thing, whether the client wants to hear it or not. My partner was saying something, I just completely ignored him, and I ran up to this man. I said, "You're the man standing in front of the stone angel with our friend." I said, "Where is that stone angel?" Now, Amrit, he could have said anything. He said, "The angel's been waiting for you. She's at my house. Would you like to come and see her?" And I've never, ever met this man in my life. And this angel, we went a week later to see this angel. She's a 400-year-old angel from Florence. She's huge. She's 492 kilos. She's about as tall as me. And I stood in front of the angel, and you know how in our cultures, like I'm born into a Hindu culture, and I just actually went to Amritsar this year and went to the Golden Temple.
Yeah.
Our statues, our temples, they all mean something. They hold a lot of power. But we are all being guided this way, and that's how you get better, is to follow what you know. Because I was led to the angel, and then there's more stories that evolve from there, like this friendship with this man. He's given me a beautiful gift, which next time we speak, I'll tell you the rest of it, because I haven't quite finished that download. But that's how you get better. I just follow my guidance and intuition and don't question. I knew I had to talk to the man. My friend showed me the angel. I knew I had to go to Uluru. We're getting these callings. We are all getting them in some way. Are you willing to listen?
Your background was very technical, much more 3D. You mentioned earlier even. Now you seem supremely guided and also connected to guides. The word guide, just opening that up into a frame in this conversation. For those that are tuning in that want to build a relationship with their guides, maybe you can highlight the first time you recognized that there were guides even for yourself and how you connected to them, adopted them, or they adopted you, however that works. I don't know. And then how can people be adopted or adopt their guide? I don't know how it works. Can you explain more, please?
We all have guides. I'm not special. We all have guides. It's just that they will show themselves to me when they want to. And I think people get really hung up about, who are my guides? What are they there for? Half the time, Amrit, I don't even know who my guides are unless they really step forward and go, it's me. So I just wait for them to show me, because the deity comes to you at the right time. And it's like when I was beach walking in July, Krishna came to me. And I don't think about Krishna. And I'm just beach walking. Gaia is just going for a walk. And he's like, it's my birthday today. And I'm like, is it? So I go home and I Google, and Krishna's actual birthday is, I think, July 21st or whatever it was. But Janmashtami is in August. And it was just amazing. They will come to you at the right time. So we just have to trust that they're there and speak to them. I think they adopt us. I don't think we adopt them. It's because the different ones come to me at different times. And most healers will say that too. It's like, oh, suddenly I've got Ganesha in my life, or suddenly Jesus has come to me, or suddenly another type of animal. Like I'm getting a lot of animals, spirit animals coming in also for clients. But usually when I see a client, the first group of energies that comes through the portal to set up the space are your spirit guides. And often in that circle, one or two will come out and say, just tell them this is who I am, or I'm some warrior from whatever. And so we all have them, and we start talking to them more. They will start placing these amazing things in our lives where we're like, oh, I'm just going to follow this and see where I go, and follow that and see where I go. But spirit guides are cool. And I love it when they just show up when you're beach walking. And, for me, because this is my full-time work, I'm highly intuitive to this type of thing, so I will notice it a bit more. It might require a little bit more practice, but the more that you can silence your mind and silence your heart and be aware that there is a team that is wanting the best for you, they are showing you the way, and you can take that way or you can suffer more than you need to. And I've learned that too through my various suffering episodes through my life where I'm going, oh, why is this happening to me? But then I always see after a period of time, oh, that's what it was for. And all the healers will be finding that the experiences that they're having in their own life, it's not just for us. It's for the people that are coming to us. That's how we get better at what we do, is that we learn through experience, which therefore means we do have to do things. We do have to create the adventure. We do have to make decisions, because that's how we learn. I feel like in the field that I'm in, I learn from my experiences too, not just the experience of other people, because I know that my spirit guides are giving me the knowledge that I need and the wisdom that I need so I can fully understand what this would feel like. And then no doubt a week later, I'll encounter someone with that same issue, and then they'll go, see, I told you, this is why you had to have that experience. Then now you know how to handle this client.
It's quite trippy when that happens. I find that even as a coach, sometimes I'll be working through a bunch of stuff and I'll realize like literally 3 months later, or sometimes I'll have a podcast like the one we're having today, and like a couple of days later, it's like, oh, this piece of information goes exactly there. Or I went through XYZ challenge and it's so like it impacted me significantly, let's say, but it's like totally like, wow, the impact on this person is like profound. Like it's really messing them up to quite a significant degree. And being able to sort of take the lessons and kind of go, oh, this is the way to dig your way out of that. And it's like, oh, cool. And it's like, thank you. And it's like, I wonder if I went through that for me or even if that was your story. And this is where, again, that energetic housekeeping piece comes. And you're just going to trust that it's all in. I find it now also when I'm coaching other coaches to become conscious coaches. One of the things in there is like, that's a piece I find myself saying again and again, but I don't think they quite get the gravitas of what I'm trying to communicate, which is like, I'm not sure if what you're going through is even for you, but it is your responsibility to wade and work your way through it. And it's not that the lessons aren't yours. The lessons are yours. Like you're developing a character. Like you're becoming like, you're developing powers here. This is amazing. Yeah. Yes, forged in the fire of challenge, but it's pretty remarkable like who you're becoming. And then also noticing that, that is also purpose is connected to service, right? So that's going to be in service to all those that are coming. I just wanted to shed a light on that because that's a nuance there that is difficult to talk to, but you've done well.
And as you're talking, I'm seeing the phoenix rising in all of us. It's like from those ashes we rise into who we are meant to be. Like I see so many people that have been through traumas that I could never even imagine, but I experience through them when I see them psychically and I'm stepping into lifetimes, and then they go, oh my God, this is actually happening for me now. It's like all of that is preparing them for the people that are going to be coming their way so that they can be their guiding light, because that's what we're all here for. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. I will be perpetually a student because all my clients teach me as well. And I think it's important that none of us put ourselves on a high horse like, oh, I know everything. I don't know anything. I'm just given what I'm given, and that's what we're meant to do. But it's also like you have pinpointed with you when you're telling your coaches, was that experience even for you? Yeah, it was. But it's also because those are the sorts of people that are going to be coming to you, and you're just a little bit ahead. You're a little bit ahead on how to deal with this and how to move forward with this, and how valuable that experience is for you and for them. And then they can carry the torch forward with whoever's going to come to them. It's like we're all passing this torch forward. And that's okay, because we're all at different, there's people more powerful than me, and I'm just at this stage and I'm able to do what I can for people, but we'll just keep all passing that torch forward and rising like a phoenix from all our experience to be able to help those who come to us for whatever service we're offering. But remember, healers, my hairdresser's a healer, the lady who like mixes my naturopathic herbs is a healer. Healers are in all forms. You don't have to feel like, I need to be seeing clients and laying my hands on them. The healers that I know are in all different industries, and that is the way that you are going to share. So I think the ego gets caught up like, I need to be psychically seeing this and I need to be as good as this person. No, you are passing the torch forward based on what you know now, and that's how you get better. If you're focusing on what you want to, you have to have some goals and things, sure, but if you're wanting to be like someone else, you're not going to get to that level of that person because you're not focusing on you and what those experiences are for you.
Hi there, guys. I wanted to take a quick moment just to introduce you to my one-to-one coaching. It's something that I deeply love doing. As you can tell, conscious conversation is such a massive part of my life. And having one-to-one, deep, meaningful conversations with people where I get to show up as your brother or as the coach or as your mentor has been such a gift for me personally, and a gift for lots of the people that I have supported on the journey of living a more spiritually empowered, spiritually powered, spiritually aligned life. You don't have to take my word for it. Here's some examples of people all around the world that have experienced profound transformations through this coaching experience.
Amrit is a fantastic coach.
In a few sessions, he got to a depth that I'd only experienced before working with certain medicines. And
He's gone through a lot of the struggles that you're probably facing, and Amrit's been a really strong, supportive figure in my journey.
In control of myself.
I'm kinder to myself.
I actually have that vision and a purpose.
I do feel like I'm a better version of myself already.
Amazing energy.
He was easy to talk to, which made me easy to trust him.
Working with Amrit at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and really I was bouncing out of bed.
Whenever I get off the calls with Amrit, best money we've ever spent.
I would not recommend him because I don't want everyone to know about him, and then I won't be able to book him. If he gets too busy, I won't get my turn.
I would say absolutely.
There's no way you can work with Amrit for a period of time without being transformed.
So if you're considering him as a coach, do not hesitate, because you won't be disappointed.
Alrighty, so hopefully that's inspiring your evolution onwards and upwards. And if you are so inspired to evolve, you can book in a one-to-one call with me directly at www.amrit.coach/life. And guys, if I can say so myself, I do think this is something quite special. Most people that I see building things online don't really work with people this deeply, this intimately, one-on-one as things start to grow, just because it is so time intensive. And yet I'm so deeply passionate about the transformation that comes from one-to-one coaching that just isn't available anywhere else. It would be my absolute honor and a pleasure to support your spiritual awakening, your spiritual path, your spiritual unfoldment. It is my life's work. I look forward to seeing you in the call. Back to today's podcast. It does seem like humanity's waking up, and over the last decade, you've been diving deeper into these spiritual truths. I did have a question around more and more people waking up to their authentic selves. Do you think there is a collective awakening happening right now?
100%.
And what is the next step for all the individuals participating?
I think there is a collective awakening happening. I feel like it's an important step for humanity now to embrace our God-given right or birthright, or however you want to phrase it, of being free. I feel like that freedom means the freedom to decide how we want to live and what we're doing, and also hearing our inner voice. And I feel like I mentioned earlier, with all the advancements that, are also going to be helpful, because I think we always need to work with everything. It's not just like, we don't like that, we don't want that. I'm always very balanced with everything. I feel like what that's going to look like for people is that a lot of people are going to be fed up with what they're doing now and wanting to be more in the service line of knowing what value they hold and how they can share it from a place of, I actually have something to share, not what they're going to get from it as the end result. And I'm seeing that over and over again, pretty much every single week with clients who are, like I said, healers, therapists, doctors, wherever. They're wanting to break through and step into the healing work in some form, but they have a fear. And this is a time when the phoenix rises that we have to be not fearful. We have to be trusting that we're here on earth at this time for a reason, and that is to awaken who we really are and help others remember that in our own way. Just like when I sat in the hairdresser chair and I got that download and Spirit was like, more majestic in who you are, and for that to come out of her mouth. It's like we're all trusting what we're hearing and seeing rather than being fearful of what's happening in the world. We're doing what we can. So I think the awakening is going to be in small ways for some, but really big ways for another. Because I even found with me over the years, I'd say things, but I couldn't really hear properly what I was saying. And I'm not talking about like audibly hearing. I noticed when I came back from Uluru, I could hear more. Like my clear audience was insane. It's like I can hear what that bird is actually trying to tell me now. Before I heard it, but it wasn't, the frequency wasn't getting in. And I could hear what the wind was saying, but now I can really hear the grief in the wind. And I think that's going to be happening to all of us, where we're going to be so much more connected with nature. Because as you know, being in Australia with Aboriginal rights and here in New Zealand with Māori rights, it's like we're not going to lose that. There's going to be an uprising of the old at the same time as there's an uprising of the new. And so the awakening is the uprising of all that ancient knowledge that we do have through the cultures that we are from or whatever, that's going to be helping us step into our purpose even more. I'm actually really excited, and I'm always tend to look at the glass half full than half empty no matter what's going on, and that's when the magic comes in.
There are certain, I don't know enough about this conversation around certain children being born with less karmic baggage, more karmic baggage, but is that a bit of a thing? Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there? Has that always been like each generation has a different sort of karmic equation going on for them because of ancestral past? But yeah, what's going on at this particular moment in time?
Really good question, Amrit, because I get a lot of women wanting to bring in children. And I've seen, like, part of my gift is I can see the soul coming into a body. I can see it leaving when someone's going to pass away or someone's going to miscarry or whatever. And the children that are communicating with me for the parents to be are so highly evolved that they don't even need to be guided, like how we were like, Gaia, you got to go to university and you got to do this and do that. It's like they know what they're coming for. And I feel like all the generations before, like from the beginning of times, like, our Aboriginal brothers and sisters who came with all this knowledge of how to live in unison with the earth, the new children are already going to have that. It's us in the middle that have all lost our way and got caught up with societal pressures and whatever. And so the children that are coming are very, very highly evolved. However, this is why our healing is so important and why Spirit sent me to Uluru, because in another dimension, those lifetimes that were lived before between 1905 and 1969 when children were being taken, they knew that I'd be able to get to Australia and do that quite easily from New Zealand, because we are reuniting mothers and children in another dimension for mothers and children to be reunited here on Earth. So a lot of you who are waiting for babies, maybe it's not you. Maybe there's some healing 4 generations down the line before where someone's lost a baby or someone was raped or someone was something that's needing to be cleared. But I know as a healer on a bigger scale, because that's my work is on a relatively big scale in terms of the volume of people I get and where I'm sent. It's like many, many healers around the world are healing the taken children, lost children from lots of different places, because there's all this underground stuff that we don't know about, that are happening to children, and we need to liberate them first for the new ones to come in and take over. And they'll lead us. They'll lead the new children will lead us. We won't be leading them. It's really amazing. When they come through, they can often come through with they know their name. They will show me what they've done with that parent in a lifetime before as to why they're choosing you to come forward. They will tell me like, oh, yep, no, she's going to have 6 miscarriages first before I come through, because each time I come in, I'm going to be bringing her and her partner closer together. They know way more than we know. It's exciting, this new generation coming in.
Do all the souls come from the same sort of place though?
No. They don't. That's my understanding. There are different planets that they come from. And sometimes they will tell me that. This is another cool example because we're talking about this. And I remember, this is what's coming to me now. Had a client and it was a male. I remember that much. And this person took me to a lifetime that wasn't on Earth. It was the original place where this person's child was from, the soul was from. Now, I didn't know anything of whether this person had a child or anything. And I get there and the child said to me, I don't speak. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to speak to you vibrationally and just tell my dad that I don't speak because I already know everything and I can pick it up in silence. And I was thinking, okay, this is really interesting. And then that portal door stayed open. It didn't shut. So I said to this man, I said, do you have a kid? He's like, yep. I said, cool. I said, is it a boy? And they're like, yes, it's a boy. I said, does your child not speak? And he said, my child is a teenager, highly intelligent, but doesn't say a word. Never has spoken a word. And it's because he was so highly evolved that he doesn't need to communicate like the layman's like us through words. It's like when I hear the birds speaking. They're not speaking in English. The frequency is talking enough. And there the father had his answer of why his child does not speak. It's because it's so evolved that in some other dimension, the original source are souls that are so bright and so evolved and so wise that who needs words? That's why silence teaches you so much. That's why my hearing got so acute when I got back from Uluru, because I was meditating from 5 a.m. till 11:30 in silence at these places in Uluru, Katajuta, Mount, wherever. So it's like, so that's to add on to what you were asking about these souls of children, people having autistic children and all of that, sure, comes with its challenges, but actually there's genius in there. There's genius of like these amazing things that they can perceive and do. So it's just fascinating what these kids know and what they're bringing us through silence with this child.
Yeah, similar to you, I have a propensity to look at the glass half full, and if harnessed correctly, I feel like the AI conversation we were having earlier before, I just can't help but reflect on something as not basic, but as something as fundamental, I should say, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and just, the lower needs being met by, certain levels of artificial intelligence and human beings being freer to pursue their gifts, their healings, their callings, their purpose. Touchwood, hopefully, if harnessed correctly.
Correct.
That's what's available for us. And then thinking into, just hearing what you're sharing, like, people coming through with, less toil and less to toil potentially, it does paint a very interesting time ahead, like inspired evolution kind of vibes. I guess that's the name of the podcast. Can't avoid it. Not that I want to avoid it, but it does, just make for an interesting glance into the future for what's ahead.
And we do, sure, there's always going to be challenges, and sure, there's going to be things that we don't like and whatever, but we are here at this time to showcase our gifts, because as individuals, I can't see everybody, you can't see everybody. That's why there's so many of us in different forms to be able to help those who come to us. And I just think, like, yes, harness correctly, but we are the role models. We are the person passing on the torch. So therefore, if we can show how technology can be used by being in the goodness of humanity, we can work with it rather than against it, and then it against us, which I know a lot of people are worried about.
What I'm hearing you say is we set the intentions.
We do. Every little thing, like karma comes and bites me in the bum so fast these days if I do anything out of like, even if like I hide a chocolate from my partner because I want the last one, it'll like fall out on his head. And I'm like, damn it, because I should have bought two, not one. It's kind of like these things we have, when we're doing this work, it's like you get caught fast. And it's kind of like, if we are pure with our intention with everything and not jealous, like, or competitive with people, compete against yourself if you're driven in that way, but just focus on bringing the best of you out, because that is what brings the magic. That's what brings the right clients to you, the right people. I see a lot of people that like study 10 million courses, like I'm doing this healing course and that healing course and this healing course. It's wonderful, but we're also just learning from people, which takes me back to the question you asked earlier in terms of Paramahansa Yogananda stopping reading spiritual books at a particular time. And the reason why I don't is not because people's experiences are not amazing to learn from and read. It is because I just want to know what I would learn naturally. What I would learn naturally. No one's telling nature how to operate. Am I not connected to nature? Why wouldn't I get the information of how to operate in the world as who I am? Sure, I love being read by my medium friends sometimes, going, okay, what do I need to know? What am I missing? That's all fun. But I'm seeking information about me. I'm not seeking how I should think about things. I try to figure that out myself based on the information that I receive and that I'm guided to naturally. If I'm guided to do something, I will pursue. If I'm guided to read something or watch something, I know everything I do is guiding me somewhere. I follow that. But there are obviously incredible teachers that have written books, and I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying that leave yourself the space to receive and be in that state of receptivity. What would I receive if I just sat in silence and knew that I was nature, just as the wind and the grass grows and the trees rustle and the ocean knows how to be pulled in and pulled out by the moon, all of that. We're all that. We're all of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think especially in this day and age that wisdom is so important, personally, I feel, because I remember finding a journal of my grandfather's. This is just two generations ago. And he, I don't know if he had a Yoo-hoo stick, but he would cut out parts of the newspaper and parts of magazines and put them in his journal, and then like have a go at like kind of what that meant for him. And he was an interesting cat because he would reflect on, in certain places, serendipity and synchronicity that piece of information found him at that particular moment in time, at what it meant for him that he found this piece of information at this point in time. And then he's talking about that, and he's like, so this implies this is the way forward. And I'm like, wow, like signs and synchronicities, like this guy's, but the information in that format was way more sparse even just 2 generations ago. You look at the birth of the internet and now it's just a torrent, right? Like before, knowledge was power. Now it's like discernment of knowledge is power, right? And so that to sort of say, yeah, just even just taking the time to sort of like, how do you even discern if you've just like fit, like you need to turn, like even just step out of the torrent of the fire hydrant. I'm just picturing a fire hydrant of information coming at people, just taking a moment to just step outside from it, just to sort of be like, okay, this is what it's like when we're not inundated and saturated with all this information and knowledge. And then it's like, oh, cool. And I can, and I've tuned into quite a few different audience members, and actually they have a similar behavior with the podcast. They actually just, I find like intuitively I'm guided to episodes, and I'm like, is it the title? Is it the person's face? And like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, I just make the click based on a completely intuitive, hunch. And this is like, oh yeah, this one's right for me. And it's like, oh, cool. Good to know. So I think it is a conversation that more and more people are waking up to.
Yeah, the discernment of information is very, very important. But like I've said so many times, and what you've said, like with your grandfather's journal and the cuttings that he's stuck in there, we will be guided to the right information and the right person. Like any person in my life, I've been literally will walk past something and my spirit guides will go in there. I'm like, okay. And then there'll be something in there that I need. And it's how everything's come my way. And it's just that we're going to be more attuned to that because we're going to be inundated with so much information, and this is how we should think and blah, blah, blah. This is why we need to have that space to connect with nature, to be able to feel into like, is this really viscerally what I'm feeling? Which energy center is being affected by this decision that I need to make? If I take door number 1, where am I feeling it in my body? If I'm taking door number 2, where am I feeling it in my body? It's like, it's really important now to connect with that internal navigation system in order to understand and interpret the information that we are receiving or that is being given to us.
Got it. For those that want to tune in more with you, Gaia, what's the best way to access you, find out more, dive deeper online?
Okay, I do have an app, Amrit, and so when people go to their app stores, they can search Soul33, or you can go to the website, which is Soul33, the numerals 33.com, and there's lots of information and articles and things that they can read there.
Yeah, and it's very well put together, actually. I'll put links to all of that in the show notes below for you guys to go check out. Gaia, intuitively, just wanted to tune in. Is there anything left that you wanted to share today before we close up today's podcast, portal, transmission?
I just feel like to everyone listening, you have your own power. You have your own power. You are no different from me or Amrit or anybody else, and it's time for you to step into that power, rise like a phoenix from all your experiences and use that to benefit yourself and to benefit the world. I think it's an important time to really be brave.
Sister Bear, thank you so much for sharing yourself so openly and abundantly here with us today. And also, today's conversation definitely stands on the shoulders of, your life's work, your life's journey, your life story, you being brave to find your way forward with everything that where we started today's podcast. Like, I can only imagine how disconcerting some of this would have been when you first started weaving your way forward, but your trust, your guidance, your bravery, your insights. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing yourself so abundantly here today, for sure, but also for you doing you all the way through. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Gaia.
Thank you so much for having me, Amrit.
You, Inspired Soul, you made it through to the end of another incredible episode. Thank you so much for your inspirations to evolve. It is such an honor to be your brother walking this path by your incredible side. Once again, thank you to all of you that are subscribed to the channel. Everything you see around here is powered and empowered by your subscription to this channel. Thank you so much for your incredible love and support. To all of you that haven't yet subscribed, please do take a moment. You watch this episode through all the way to the end, and likely this probably isn't your first, it's your third, fourth, fifth, dare I say 10th, 11th. Please do take a moment, hit the subscribe button just below. It's lighting up in the colors of the Inspired Evolution. As I say the word subscribe, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon. 2 episodes like this coming out every week at the moment. And again, thank you guys so much for your subscriptions. 100,000 people, touch wood, tuning into this episode, these podcasts. It blows me away. Your incredible love and support. Like I said, everything is powered and empowered by your subscription to the channel. Now, in order for your inspirations to keep evolving, keep flowing, keep going upwards and inwards, as we like to say, there are some episodes on screen for you to dive in deeper from this conversation following Gaia. So go on, take your pick, make your click, and I will see you in the next one. Go on, I'll see you there.